part of the general public in that sense. I mean,
yes, yes.
So you're both part of it and a
also
part as well.
We are inside and outside
exactly,
at the same time.
Yes.
That's a very tough position, or sad position to be.
But now you're heading into a biennial later this year in September, I take it. That is titled Imagining Peace.
Imagining Peace.
What will that do?
Well, you see, like, imagining is a wonderful word. Yeah. It's a very engaging word. And imagining means it's an embodied act. It's not just thinking, you know. It's also, I must say this, like, I came out with this title for this. And, you know, it looks very stylish and cliched. No. Right now, one thing, it was, say, a week before, what the general notion in the country, especially supported by the government, was not to imagine peace as such. It was, that's okay, that's government's job, but we are thinking people.
Exactly, but should it be reimagining peace? Because we have been led to believe that, as you said earlier, that it is only through violence that one can achieve peace. So the public.
Well, I didn't say that. This, you know, in a way, I said that. It's also why I didn't. I'm not.
No, exactly. But
this is my dilemma.
You're contesting that. But I mean, certainly, if you take a look at the media and certainly the position of the government in this regard, it is that there is necessary violence, there is necessary evil, and you can't escape it. You have to do it, and that it is through violence that one can achieve peace. I mean, words to that effect have been repeatedly told to us in the media over the past 3 years, and we see the results of that. Whether we like it or not, this is how we got here. Now, should it then be the case that you reimagine it, because a public fashion to think and perceive things in one set of ways, is it now the case that you're kind of tweaking them to think differently?
I think you're right. I think you have a point there. Yes, it's actually not just imagining. But you remember, we never used the word imagining and peace before.
Yeah.
We did like artist for peace, artist against war. We never took this word. This word all of a sudden is appearing in so many different countries. Like, you know, for example, early this year I was in a program called Designing Peace in Manila. And just last week, 2 weeks ago, they have one in Delhi. They call it the same title, Imagining Peace. So all of a sudden, designing, instead of using for peace or anti-war, we were never connected with each other. It was like people are thinking of peace in a different way. Designing and imagining are the two buzzwords, so to speak, right now is coming up. Like, you know, so reimagining is yet another situation. So another step.
Do you feel that, I mean, I was speaking to some artists as well, I mean, whether this, trying to get a sense of whether they feel that this will be a new golden age for art, where people now have the space to appreciate it, the freeing of maybe a garrisoned mentality, what they were used to for the past 30 years. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Sri Lankan art, you know, this is, I may be proven very wrong, but Sri Lankan art will move into a very, very minimalist, but extremely heavily, an art form with rather minimalist, but with heavy content.
Explain that.
It's like, you know, our art is a bit baroque, so like, there are so many motifs. You know, they are very heavy. You know, one of the critics I had was like, people cannot live with your art. You know, they're taxing so much. You're taxing my brain, like situation. But you see, we are moving into a very conceptual, highly conceptual art form. That I think would do, because that's also a way of dealing with very difficult, highly tentative and highly undefined situations like this.
I mean, the question of accessibility also then comes up, isn't it? I mean, if it is in the stratospheric mind of an artist, this conceptual creation, how does the public engage?
I tell you why I'm saying.
If you want the public to engage, I don't know. I'm assuming.
Well, I do. Yeah. When I say public, I'm thinking of you, but you are also inside the public, also outside. I tell you what. No, you see, up until yesterday, like, you know, the problem was clear. Tamil nationalism and Sinhala Buddhist nationalism or Sinhala nationalism, Southern politics, and all that was very clear. And, you know, but we were fighting, like, you know, like thinking people from the South, you know, there were certain very clear situations. I think now it's going to be different. And that's why I said, like, you know, artists have already begun to show this highly conceptual. Well, conceptual trend was there in the 90s as well, but now it is becoming more and more conceptual. I think I mean, I said this a moment ago. But people will come.
Would you accept another commission by the President's Fund to design a monument for the lost innocents?
I wouldn't do that again. I think that was, you see, like...
This was 99, wasn't it?
99, it was opened in 99, and like, the Shrine of the Innocents. So, in a way, its true meaning is only there. It's there only now, not when I made it. Because,
but that's a good art, I would imagine.
That's a good art. People like
tragic it. Also in another sense.
Yeah. But you see, I think I made so many idealistic mistakes in that. One thing is I made sure that it will look like that it was not made by any political party. I think that's the very reason why it is totally forgotten by everyone. You see, in this country there are no citizens. This is what I read. This is one. Yeah, there are either the Sinhalese, the Buddhists, the Tamils, or the upper caste, lower caste, or Kandians, the whatever. There are no citizens in this country. In a country where there are no citizens, in a country which is highly polarized, I try to make an artwork that belongs to the citizens.
But it belongs to nobody.
So it belongs to nobody.
Yeah.
I think I made the mistake.
How would you do it now? I mean,
I wouldn't do it. There's no point. You cannot do public monuments in this country when there is no public as such. I'm very cynical when I say that. This is the hard truth. There are no public in this country.
So who do you speak, or who do you seek to speak to through your effort?
We have a wonderful, Indian aesthetic theory like Sahurda. Either people with equal, similar hearts, or people with very, sensitive hearts.
Yeah.
It's not the public. Too bad. I'm not concerned very much with the public. You see, I may sound very elitist, and I'm not elitist, but that's the politician's job. Like, if you're going to do things, if you're going to do your science, if you're going to do your archaeology, if you're going to do your art for the public, you're not doing your art or science in that sense.
But you are, you have created your own public. I mean, you have been very, very influential with the people.
Because I write, so I do my job. I also write about art.
How now, in what, 50 odd years?
I've been doing that for 30 years now.
30 years. Now,
I'm an old donkey.
But I was about to suggest, I mean, like, from very humble beginnings in a sense, your life's journey, what are the, any key points that have inspired you, or in both violently as well as...
Yes. You see...
You talked about 83, for example.
Yes, that was a turning point.
Right.
But the first turning point was when I see... bit of my history, like as in school I studied chemistry, physics, botany, so as the wish of my parents.
Very related to art, obviously.
I was going to be a doctor. I realized that I don't have the smartness to become a doctor, so I went to art school. When my dad didn't speak to me for about 2-3 weeks for dumping his dream that he built for me. Anyway, that's the best decision I took in my life. I mean, dumping your dad's dream or parents' dream and go do what you like. And I think that's always the case. You should do what you want. And in I don't want to talk, well, you asked a good question. 78, I was abducted by the paramilitary groups or the thugs of the then government and taken to the headquarters of the government that was at that time, and was beaten, harassed, and they dumped me on the beach. My father used to work in the Supreme Courts. He was an assistant registrar and all that. He was also a Marxist. I grew up with certain convictions and notions that, there are certain rights that nobody can violate. But on broad daylight, on 78 February, it was violated. That changed my life. How could that happen? You see, that's the first time that I realized, no, there is, it's a totally different world. And then the 83. And then those are the two things that changed my life. And the current situation is also affecting a lot. Because, we'll talk about that later.
Now, I'm going to ask a difficult question. I want to phrase this correctly so that I might get the idea across. Now, clearly, we are a product of our history, and you have both lived through and experienced directly a violent history. So have many of us, really. You can't escape it for the past 3 decades. Now, if you accept my hypothesis that we are going into a remarkably different age. We don't know the contours of it yet, but we know that it is a new age. And if you accept that the violence is also going to be different, if you know what I mean. It's not the old violence. How will the Jagath Weerasinghe reinvent himself to be relevant, or will he continuously be inspired by and be talking about a past that no longer is there today?
No.